Higher purpose. Your misery is your ministry. Your pain is your purpose. Your suffering is your service. Your mess becomes your message. Your test becomes your testimony. God allows us to hurt to heal others because you cannot heal what you cannot feel. So don't let the pain of your past punish your present and paralyze your progress and purpose. Hello, my name is Michael from Turnaround Tuesday, and I'm happy to be with you. The part that speaks to me, I think I've mentioned this before, it's your pain is your purpose. One of my biggest tests and pain has been the loss of my father. As much as I was saddened by this episode, it really did open my eyes to many things. My father was a man who loved people, and he understood that life was not just about taking care of one's immediate family, but also to stretch forth a helping hand to others. His deeds and sayings have had a profound influence of my life until today. I always ask myself, when caught in certain situations, what will my father do? My answer is always to help others, just like he would have done. This is why I get my love for people and the need to help others. So in this season, this period, in this pandemic of COVID-19, I encourage one another, all of us, to help one another, family members, even people you don't know. Just extend a helpful hand to somebody. Melvin.
Thank you, Michael.
What do you have for us? You're welcome.
Hello, Turnaround Tuesday. Good to see you guys again. I'm Melvin. I'm the co-director of Turnaround Tuesday. And today I'm going to bring our spiritual vitamin today. And the spiritual vitamin says, and thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Today's vitamin says, education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. That is a quote from George Washington Carver. As I reflect on this vitamin, to me, as we as a nation look at all the things that are currently going on in this world, it reinforces to me how important quality education is. Having a high school diploma is one thing that society cannot take from you. It symbolizes many things. One, that you've completed something. Second, it minimally positions an individual to compete in a world that's not always fair, as we all see today. It is the first step toward additional educational opportunities to specialize in a rewarding career. The more education you receive, the more golden gates to freedom will be unlocked for you. But what you do with education is just as important. As I close with a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. As we, again, in Turnaround Tuesday, continue to navigate through this pandemic, we had to make several adjustments to our weekly Turnaround Tuesday presentation. As you know, we have not met now. I think it's been almost 16, 17 weeks. Wow, time is flying. We have adjusted to a virtual presentation for Turnaround Tuesday. As one of the co-directors, Terrell and I constantly work every day and meet every day and talk every day on how we can improve Turnaround Tuesday and better position each and every person that comes for our services to be successful and to gain employment and build leaders in the communities around Baltimore, which we truly need. One of my roles besides the co-director now, I help facilitate orientation with Bree Johnson, our Director of Operations. It's the first opportunity that many new people have to meet Turnaround Tuesday and to learn about what we do. What we always learn is that we always start with people, and everything we do is relational. So we want to get to know the people that are coming in our doors. You're not a number. You're not someone that's just coming in for services. You become part of a family, and that's what we build here at Turnaround Tuesday. After orientation, you're introduced to Michelle Benjamin, who is our case manager, and Michelle's going to go from here.
Hello, Turnaround Tuesday. So the difference with my role right now is that we are meeting virtually instead of meeting in person. That presents some challenges for my position, right? As the primary part of an assessment for me is building rapport and really understanding the body language that the person is presenting to me. So with that, I've had to replace that with phone calls and different levels of contact so that I can make sure that your needs are being met and that we are still building that rapport that we have built in person. That has been the biggest change for my position. Additionally, I've had to step into some different roles and help out with the rest of the team. The assessment piece is the most important piece of your process because we're really getting to know you. We're really getting to put down some of the barriers that have been keeping you from employment in the past. And also, it's a piece that allows you to express the fear and anxiety that you may be feeling due to all the uncertainty that's happening with COVID and due to all the uncertainty that's happening in the employment field. I also provide many, many resources for food, housing, emotional and mental health concerns as well. So my area has expanded in that realm where I can now help to provide you and link you to people who are directly open and available to provide those services. The next person, I believe, is going to be Michael to talk about individual meetings.
Thank you very much, Michelle. So my role in this period has changed a little bit. I'm the IT person at Turnaround Tuesday, and mostly what I do is with the data and the system. I've had to change the system to be able to accept virtual meetings. Before we were meeting in person, but now everything is virtual. Assessment, attendances, everything has to be virtual now. So I have done that. And our employment is very important because since this pandemic, a lot of people have lost their job. And you already know, Turnaround Tuesday, we're all about getting Baltimore back to work. And we love it and jubilate when one person is employed. So what I've changed in my job is always provide Monday mornings, provide employment reports to executive directors so they can know exactly where we are. So employment is very important to us. If you, in our system, we always call you to get information so we can update the system. Why? Because we need that data to support what we do. I'm really proud of what we do, and I love what we do. Some of the things that have changed in my role is also doing individual meetings. What are individual meetings? So, some of the people I talk to, they're so nervous, but individual meetings are just the way that we get to know you. If tomorrow you get a job and they call and say, Michael or Terrell, do you know Mr. A? Terrell will say, oh yeah, I had individual meeting with him. I know him. I know this about him. So that is the purpose of individual meeting. I usually try to let the people that I talk to, I let them calm down. I let them know that it's informal. So even though I'm the IT person, I do individual meeting because that's how my role has changed with this pandemic. I missed several other things with the database. I take database backups very often now because everything is virtual. We are not together because data can be lost at any time. So once data is lost, I can go back to the backup and replenish it. So that's one of the things that have changed. So many things have changed, and later I'll come back and talk to you about why data is very important to what we do. So that's in a nutshell, that's what's about individual meetings we talk about. I believe the next person is going to man. Okay.
That's me. Hello, Turnaround Tuesday. I'm John and I am the job developer for Turnaround Tuesday. And just like it sounds, my job is to get you jobs. And right now, I have to treat you virtually. I have to meet with you. And I'm glad I do get an assessment from Michelle. I get IMs from Michael, and then I get a chance to know a little bit about you based virtually. So what happens, I call you a lot because I think I have to really get to know who you are when I'm setting you up for a job. So I'm basically asking you for what your past experiences are and what you want to do in terms of work-wise. Right now, we're working in a time with a lot of COVID-19 opportunities. So a lot of the jobs that you may have wanted to have before are put on hold. And so right now, we're kind of doing a lot of jobs just around this COVID-19. But we also have a lot of other opportunities that is not COVID-19 involved in looking for full-time jobs. But my job is basically to get to know who you are before I send you on a job, because I really get to know. And it's a little disadvantage being virtually, but at the same time, through many of these conversations we've had, I've got to know who a lot of folks are. So I'm getting the chance to meet people, and it is difficult, but it's challenging, but we still make it happen. We are still hiring a lot of people, and the more that I talk to you, the more I get to know you, because this is what we have. We have virtually, we have Zoom. So This is what I do and every day and enjoy doing it. And I think the next person will be.
I'm sorry, John, to interrupt you. Are you on the beach doing all this work? Supposedly doing these meetings?
Listen, one of the advantages of being virtual is that you can do work from anywhere. Okay? So, you know, whether or not I'm on the beach or not, the work still gets done. Yes, Cheryl.
I think it's Terrell.
Terrell?
Hi, Turnaround Tuesday. We really miss you all. And as the team has said, it is a difficult time. And in any times that change, we have to change with it. And so one of the things that we have changed is taking essential skills and putting it online virtually, which is really hard for me. I think this whole thing is hard for me because I get my energy from people, not from machines. In many cases, I use my phone for probably two purposes: to call people and check emails. I don't do Streamline or whatever you call it, Instagram, Facebook, none of those things. Because, you know, for me, my energy really do come from people. So I really missed those 16 weeks, as you say, Melvin, of contacts and engagement with people. One of the things I'm supposed to talk about is how we change essential skills. And if you don't know, essential skills is just a part of those things that we revisit before people go out on their new jobs or new careers, because we realize a lot has happened in our lives. And sometimes we need to go back to places where we stopped and revisit them, because in many cases they've taken us off on different roads. So we talk about values and morals and having a moral compass and how we're different and everybody wants to be appreciated, just to sort of revisit what it means to be human and what it means to live in a civil society where all people respect and value each other. And so this has been a great class. I think Cheryl and I started Essential Skills about 6 weeks ago. And so I would love for her to come now and talk a little bit about specific essential skills training that we're doing in this age of COVID-19. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. And before I speak about the contact tracing piece, I just also want to reflect on how I've been feeling with the essential skills and had to adjust. And at first I thought the whole point of essential skills, it's kind of where we sit, as you had said, and we're thinking differently. And I was really hesitant with all new people coming in. Are we really gonna be able to relate to one another in a space that's virtual? And it's been amazingly surprising and engaging to have people come on that don't know each other, to see each other, and that we can get to a place where we're talking about really big issues in our city and in our country and in the world in a short time period, that we're developing enough trust. And I think it goes to our whole purpose as Turnaround Tuesday, which was to build an institution that people could come to get ready for work and to think differently, and a place to come back to when you're having work conflicts, which we've been doing. Another thing we've been doing is a lot of phone calls with people on the job and like thinking through, remember when we were in training on conflict and reflecting back on that, or what do you have the power to change in the workplace when you're in that setting with a supervisor that's really challenging? What do you need to land on? And we trained about this today, the relationship at work, that matters the most to develop. So in contact tracing, we've been going deep and listening and really perfecting the skills of listening, because what we know is contact tracing is when someone's been identified as positive for the coronavirus, and that the health department is hiring contact tracers to make the very first call after someone's been notified of their results, and to help them think through what they need to do to isolate, to stay in their home for maybe 14 days, to seek care, to walk through their symptoms, and then to find out who they've been in contact with during the time when they were infectious. And that way they reach out to the contacts. And this is the only way we know, along with testing and good health care, that we're going to be really able to get back to a normal life again. This is a really important strategy. So we've been working really on focusing on developing trust mostly, and what that looks like and what kind of tools you bring to that to do that. And a lot of it has to do with using the empathy that you're developing and figuring out how on a first time phone call with someone can you really develop trust. How do you do it, and what do you draw on? And it's been fun to role play. We've listed out all the possible responses we might get on a phone call, like someone angry, someone fearful, someone saying this is a myth. And we've role played and practiced helping people get comfortable with that. I have learned a lot, and I learn every session, so I'm really grateful for that space. And I think,
And Cheryl,
Yeah.
what has been the biggest barrier doing it virtually for you guys?
Well, the staff.
It's not knowing the
Go ahead.
people. For me, it's not knowing the people, because usually when we do essential skills, we have a pretty good idea of who we're meeting with. We have a pretty good idea of their barriers. We have a pretty good idea of some of the, you know, their life journey. But with virtual, we really don't have that. We depend on the team to do that work, to do the work, like Michael said, of one-on-one meetings, or Michelle do the work of case management. And so when we talk to people, usually we are cold. And that is really, really hard to not really know someone coming from an operation that prides itself on knowing somebody. And trying to make the transition is a really difficult transition. And you can tell I don't like it.
Thank you.
So I think next was interviews. Who was discussing
Well,
interviews?
Cheryl, what did you
Oh,
think?
sorry.
That
I
was
was
mine.
going to say thank you. That the casual interactions that we have that build relationships. So on breaks, we might be talking to someone. That comment you made in class, and like, you know, just one-to-one talking. When you're a virtual space with everyone, you can't do that. The, you know, follow-ups after class, you know, other things people might want to do. So I really miss that kind of engagement. But I feel like, yeah, go ahead.
I want to also, can you follow up with a little small historical perspective on contact tracing for us, and what is the standard now, and why we're doing essential skills to up that standard?
Yeah, so contact tracing has been used for 100 years in other countries in a big way. Certainly with, probably people are more familiar with Ebola outbreaks and how it was utilized really well in Africa and other places to really notify the public very quickly and to shut down the spread of infection. In this country, we've really used it more with STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, and it's not something I think that's that well known to most of us and not as developed. So that's been something that we need to up our game in this country on it and hire more people to do it. And it has been met with really mixed review across the country. I think that there are some standards they're setting that people are supposed to be in different cities and county health departments posting on a dashboard how they're doing with it and the percentage of people that they're able to meet with. And I think the gold standard is to actually to be able to identify contacts that are already isolated, and so we're slowing the spread. That if they're positive, they've already been isolated. So then that percentage of people is their sort of gold standard that you've really slowed it down. And I think what we found and what we've heard is that maybe 30% of people are actually being reached that are contacts because people really aren't comfortable giving up that information. We recognize how private it feels to get a call from someone and say, who were you in contact with the last 48 hours? And so what we've been doing in our training to supplement the course that people are taking is, how do you develop trust on a phone call when you're going to be asking really private information and asking someone to give up basically their individual freedom for the public good? So we wrestle with, what does that mean, individual freedom and a public good? If we talk about vaccinations, we all have to do that to go to school. We have to give up our right to say we don't want a vaccination. You have to go to school because there may be vulnerable people in the school system, children, that you need to do this. And so we talk a lot about that and how does that translate into a phone call and a real life conversation with someone when you're really getting them to act, right? You're trying to persuade someone. So that's the kind of soft skill, what I would say really important skill work that we're doing with our phone calls so that we can we can do much better than 30% in Baltimore City. That's the goal. I think interviews was next, right?
Yep. So I have interviews. Hello, everyone. Bree Johnson here. I wear a few hats, and one of the hats that I'm wearing when it comes to us in our new process is stepping in as needed. When you go through your new process from the orientation, assessment, individual meeting with the job developer, essential skills, you're pretty much ready for your job. And prior to that, you are needing interview practice. Some of you think you might not need it, but I will tell you everybody does, even me myself. Prior to another opportunity, I always know that research behind it has to be done, and there's always new and innovative ways of doing things. And the new and innovative way that we are doing it is virtual. When it comes to the contact tracing interviews, that is very different. You are actually asked to be recorded. So that's very different, that's new. So what we do is we help prepare you in that step. But other than that, some employers are asking for a Zoom video. Some are asking for a phone interview first. So what we do here at Turnaround Tuesday is definitely know just what type of interview you may be facing and help prepare you for it. So again, you may be in a group interview session, or at times you may have an individual from the staff who will have an individual one-on-one interview practice with you. And so that's our interview practice. The other thing too is you'll also be asked to have another individual meeting with another staff member and or a coach. So overall, we encourage and ask you to have 2 individual meetings. As Michael mentioned earlier, Michael does individual meetings, Terrell, Melvin does. You know, we all step in as needed to make sure that that piece is also done. And again, it's us getting to know you and you getting to know us. So that's my piece on individual meetings and interview practice. And Michael, you're gonna come back up and kind of recap on your data piece.
Thank you so much, Bree.
Thanks.
So a lot of the staff members make calls. We call them re-engagement calls. We do this to get our retention numbers, who's working and what is happening to people. Our system captures, like from assessment, when the case manager calls you, right up from assessment to individual meetings, case notes, employment information, job readiness information, retention, and attendance, and several more. So the reason why we capture this data is because this is how we get funding to keep on moving to help Baltimore. Our dream is to get Baltimoreans to start working. And the only way we can make our case is we have data to support what we are doing. We are doing an awesome job, but we cannot stand in front of funders and say, we are doing awesome job. We can only do that by what's backing it up with data. So I'm just pleading with you that when Turnaround Tuesday, staff calls you, just willingly be free to know that we're on your side and provide them with the necessary data. I'm the data guy. I'm the guy looking everywhere to see, why is this not completed? Why is this not completed? And you know, it would be unfortunate to say, oh, Mr. A or Mr. B did not want to give us this information. But believe it or not, all this is to support the community and make our job go on. I work closely with Cheryl. Cheryl, do you have anything to add to the data piece? I'm very passionate about data, and Cheryl knows that.
I think you've covered it beautifully.
Thank you. All right, so today was a short session. I'll defer to Terrell, one of our co-directors.
So the only thing I like to say is please go to turnaroundtuesday.org, which I guess you're there now if you're watching. Take the survey. Continue to believe that you can do better. Use us to do that. Use us as your journey to do that. And I would love to have someone, I think Michelle is going to say a few things about some resources that we might have, or just direct us to resources that we've already talked about. And then we have someone to come and pray and exercise us out.
Thank you, Terrell. So every week I provided a numerous amount of resources. We talked about food resources, mental health and emotional health resources, resources about returning to work, making sure that you keep your masks clean, washing them. So please, I encourage everyone to go back to the Turnaround Tuesday website, take a look at all the resource pages that we have up. We also have partnerships with Maryland Legal Aid. If there's any issues about housing or any issues with expungement, we do have someone who works on that. So please go ahead and take a look, reach out to us, let us know what your needs are. Sometimes it may seem like something very small, but it's something that we can help you with. So please don't forget that we are here for you and that we're always looking to engage in whatever way that you need. So who's going to close us out in prayer?
Thomas.
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 Thomas, thank you.
I want to hear your voice.
Make sure I'm off of mute. Before I get started, I please note that we don't subscribe to any religion in particular. Turnaround Tuesday. If you have faith in a particular God, if you don't have faith in a God, but have faith in yourself, so just bow your head in honor of yourself or in honor of your God so that we can move forward. Father, we come to you to thank you for this time that you have blessed us with, for this opportunity of life that we cherish and appreciate. We ask you, God, to keep everyone safe, to help us along the way, to provide for us our daily needs. We ask you, God, to prepare our minds to be able to overcome these struggles that we face on a daily basis. And we ask you to allow us to connect with those whom we love and that love us despite this social distancing that's going on. We want you to know that we love you and we appreciate all that you're doing for us in our lives. And it's in God's name that we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, Thomas.
Exercise time. Sarah, did you have something to say? Gratitude.
Oh my
Please
God.
don't forget.
Fine, yes.
What are you grateful for? Every week I put a note in my gratitude jar. So please don't forget to put your notes in your gratitude jar. Okay?
I'll show you mine this week. Wear your mask.
Wear
I'm
your
grateful for having a mask.
That's good, Cheryl. That is good. Anyway, so today's exercise is you put your arms forward, up, down, open and close. Up, down, open and close. We'll do 10. Okay, let's start. Up, down, open and close. Up, down, open and close. Up, down, open and close. That's 3. Up, down, open and close. 4. Up, down, open and close. 5. Up,
5.
down,
Oh
open
my
and
gosh.
close. 6. Up, down, open and close. 7. Up, down, open and close. 8. Up, down, open and close. Up,
Calvin.
down, open and close. Good job,
We
guys.
miss you
Thank you so
all.
much.
We miss seeing
We
you.
love you. Turnaround
Wear
Tuesday.
your mask
Hey,
and
guys.
stay safe. Be smart.
All right.
Bye.